With over 80 years of Marvel content, it's no surprise that each year we get new characters, heroes, villains, and allies from the big screen to the animated universe, now to Disney Plus's streaming service, and throughout the pages of some of our favorite mags. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. This is Top 10 Nerd, and I am your host, Amanda McKnight. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 newest Marvel characters you need to know about. I cannot wait to share them with you. Let's get counting. Number 10, L'Oreal. Not to be confused with L'Oreal, which is a brand, just to be clear. L'Oreal is the sister of Captain Marvel, who first appeared in issue 18 of the current Captain Marvel series, which started back in 2019. She was genetically bred by Kree scientists who created her to be a powerful warrior using the DNA of two accomplished Kree warriors who came before her, one of which was Carol Danvers' mother, Marielle. That makes L'Oreal Carol's full Kree half-sister. Carol was working as an accuser when she first ran into L'Oreal, and was tasked with apprehending and executing her, as she was believed to be the Kree responsible for a large massacre. Carol learned of L'Oreal's parentage and believed her to be innocent, so instead spirited her away until she could locate the person who was truly responsible for the massacre. After the events of Empire, where the two sisters fought side by side, L'Oreal ended up becoming Emperor Hulkling's new accuser, taking Carol's place. Also, L'Oreal, fun fact, is really funny, and if you get to read her as Emperor Hulkling's accuser, you'll see what I'm talking about. Number 9, KATY CHEN from the MCU. KATY, or Ruin Chen, is probably one of my favorite new characters in the MCU, if not just my full-on favorite now, I think. KATY is the best friend of Sean and grew up with him, but later learns that her friend Sean has a complicated past that he's been running from for basically years. And in fact, Sean's given name was never actually Sean, but instead Shang-Chi. KATY might not have superpowers, but she comes with a can-do attitude no matter the odds. We also learn that despite the fact that KATY works as a valet alongside Sean, that she actually graduated from Berkeley, but isn't really doing much with her college degree. KATY loves driving fast and karaoke, a woman after my own heart. Number 8, Werewolf by Night. The new Werewolf by Night is known as Jake Gomez. He made his first appearance in the newest Werewolf by Night series in issue number 1. Jake discovers as a teenager that he can transform into a wolf during the night, no full moon necessary. Jake ends up wrestling with his werewolf form, attempting to use it to do some good for his people while struggling to be in full control of himself while transformed. Jake is supported by his sister Molly, who helps him by using music, creating playlists to help soothe him, allowing him to gain more control, and his grandmother. Number 7, Zhu Xialing from the MCU. Zhu Xialing is the sister of Shang-Chi, who appears in his self-titled feature film. We learn that despite the fact that her father never felt it would be appropriate to train her, at night she would practice in secret, watching his elite soldiers, known as the 10 Rings, during the day, and attempting to teach herself their movements during the night. Like her brother Shang-Chi, she also became a woman on the run. However, for Xialing, instead of running from her potential destiny, she attempts to seize for herself the role she feels was denied to her growing up. It's likely that the Shang-Chi film won't be the last that we'll see of this new Marvel Cinematic Universe character, and that she won't necessarily be quite as black and white as some of the other Marvel characters that we've come to know, which I'm so ready for. I love when characters have so much depth. Number 6, Black Winter. Black Winter is going to be a huge big bad that will be coming our way eventually in the comics. Likely much later on, like we're talking a few years away. Black Winter isn't actually a completely new character, but has recently been reinvented in terms of their part as one of the biggest bads ever faced in the comics. Black Winter actually first appeared under the name The Creeping Plague back in the 60s in Thor issue 169. But more recently in 2019, the entity appeared under a new name in Silver Surfer Black issue number 4, becoming known as Black Winter. The entity can take on any shape or form it pleases, and is responsible for ending Galactus' home universe. The Black Winter will also likely be the way the current Marvel universe ends. While Thor and Galactus teamed up in the beginning of the current Thor run, Volume 6, Donny Cates' run, to destroy the Black Winter, Thor really only succeeded in temporarily defeating the entity, leaving Thor with visions of a bleak end to come, which includes the return of Thanos. Alright friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want to learn about more of the newest characters that we've seen in the last year or two, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. There's lots of new characters. There's lots more people I want to talk to you about, so please give it a thumbs up. Share it. get at the views so I can give you the video. Number 5. Yelena Belova from the MCU. Yelena Belova is like the little sister of Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, though to be clear, she isn't blood related to Natasha, or not that we know of anyways. It turns out both Yelena and Natasha were part of a team of undercover Russian operatives and spies who are posing as an all-American family as their cover. They were in the US to gain important scientific intel when they were kids that the head of the Red Room, Dreykov, wanted to ultimately help expand and grow his empire. Yelena was posing as Natasha's little sister when they were undercover. Even after Black Widow became an Avenger and thought that she had actually taken down the Red Room, it was revealed that Yelena actually remained a spy and operative for the secret organization due to the fact that earlier on, Black Widow and Hawkeye had actually failed to complete that mission to destroy the organization in Budapest. Yelena will likely be taking over and becoming a sort of White Widow, if you will, in the MCU. At least that's what I think we're gonna know her as, working on a team that Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine is putting together. In the comics, Yelena is a bit of a different character. She is a rival of Black Widow's who is sometimes an ally and sometimes a foe, depending on the circumstances. And as far as I know, she's never worn quite as cool of a vest as her MCU counterpart, though she was a model at one point. That was a thing that happened. Number 4. Genesis. Genesis is a pretty important character who apparently has always existed, but who we never really knew about. Ooh, mysteries. She made her first full appearance in the 2019 run of X-Men back in issue 12. We would learn that she is the wife of Apocalypse, who was long ago lost to her husband, who ended up leaving another mutant island nation known as Araco. The other half, it turns out, of Krakoa. Genesis is a strong warrior and an all-around badass, basically pretty much exactly what you'd expect Apocalypse's wife to be. She also happens to be a mother, as it turns out that Apocalypse and Genesis together had a whole family of strong, also badass mutant children. Currently, Genesis and Apocalypse are back together and are likely taking a little off-panel vacation, as we haven't really seen them in a little while, so I hope they're enjoying themselves. Hope they're getting a time to reconnect, because they've been apart for so long. Number 3. Shang-Chi from the MCU. Shang-Chi first appeared in the comics back in the 70s, but it took him 13 years to make his way into the MCU from when it started way back in 2008. Simu Liu is the actor to take up the role of this new hero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Shang-Chi is introduced in his own self-titled feature film Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings, where no major plot spoilers here, no major plot spoilers. We learn that he is a man running from the past, living under the alias of Sean in the United States, after escaping the supposed wrath of his father, criminal overlord Wen Wu. We follow him on his journey as he is suddenly recalled home, back to his family under mysterious circumstances, all while uncovering his family's story, history, and the legend of the Ten Rings. If you haven't seen Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings yet, I actually cannot recommend this movie more. I think it actually may have become one of my all-time favorite films, both within and without the MCU. That is just how great it is. I cannot praise it enough. If you haven't seen it yet, like, pause this video, go watch it, and then come back. That's how good it is. You gotta go right now. Number 2. Venom. That's right, there is a new Venom in town. This one is the son of Eddie Brock and his ex-wife Anne Wang. His name is Dylan Brock. Dylan's existence at first was a shock to Eddie, and it also seemed as though Venom was involved in his genetic creation as well, being that Venom was bonded to Eddie at the time of Dylan's conception. Dylan and Eddie both, however, managed to survive past the crazy summer event that was absolute carnage, where he resurrected Cletus Cassidy as a Grendel symbiote version of Carnage, threatened to awaken the god of symbiotes, Null, who would threaten the entire Earth. While Eddie did manage to save his son Dylan, he could not avoid waking Null, who then arrived on Earth during another summer event, Marvel's King in Black event. With Null defeated, Eddie took his place as the god and ruler of symbiotes, and the Venom symbiote was tasked with keeping an eye on Dylan. Dylan has since bonded with the Venom symbiote, and together the two are now the new Venom. So you can enjoy that. Kids grow up so fast in comics. They don't get to be kids for very long, do they? Number 1. Kang the Conqueror from the MCU. Kang is a character that I really never would have expected to see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but It's happened, and I gotta say, I'm like weirdly hyped about it. Kang made his first appearance in the season 1 finale of Marvel's streaming series Loki, where he was played by Jonathan Majors. We already knew to expect Jonathan Majors as the character, but didn't anticipate him to show up so early in that role, instead expecting him to arrive in the MCU in Ant-Man and the Wasp's film Quantumania, where he was believed to be the major villain. It turns out, however, that there isn't just one Kang, but infinite Kangs across the multiverse. One of these Kangs was the one behind the Time Variance Authority, or the TVA, it turns out, but now that it has been toppled, this has allowed multiple realities with other, possibly even more sinister, powerful, and ruthless Kangs to spring up. So get ready for some Kang mania, it sounds like. Also, we need a Kang movie, because I want Quantumania and I want like Kang Mania to also be a movie now. Who are some of your favorite new characters? Are you more interested in new heroes or villains, or are you all about those allies and important side characters like I am? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Till next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.